if you recognize that your kid has a problem, or if you have a problem, whether it's with social media, an addiction to your phone, just on it all the time, or pornography, like, again, it seems weird that we're lumping all of these into one basket. Go back and watch the last episode about that.
Brain chemistry and the way that we feel rewards and all that stuff.
How that works in our mind, going through all of that, they're very similar. If I recognize that my kid has a problem, what do I do? Or if your kid comes to you, because for us, when we hear that a kid has a problem, or when we think that a kid has a problem, we're always going to push them to their parents, because we get to see them for 2 to 3 hours a week. And most of that time is you're with a group of other people, and it's not sitting down and talking with you. We will always encourage students to talk to their parents. And so I always tell my guys that, like, if I find out about something, I was like, all right, you need to talk to your parents about this. What's the time limit for it? So we'll usually set, like, you've got 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'm going to tell them, which I just turn around and say, hey, by the way, Billy has something he needs to talk to you about. But I'm just going to make sure the conversation happens, because that's so important. And so if your kid comes to you and says, I've got a problem, what do I do? I don't want you to be shocked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. First and foremost,
you what?
If your student comes to you and shares that they're struggling with, whether it be cell phone addiction or social media issues or pornography or whatever, please respond to that with love and gratefulness that they came and shared something big with you, because they are probably terrified to come and share that with you.
So it's so common. I was reading more last week, and in Canada, they were saying 80% of high school guys in Canada are looking at porn on a daily basis. This is not gender specific anymore. So numbers are close to the same nowadays, as far as it used to be thought of as a guy problem only, especially pornography. But this is an everybody problem. And so I'm finding out more and more students are, I had access to it in 5th grade was when I first discovered pornography. And I'm just, like, to me, I was like, wow, okay, I didn't realize that. And so tackling this in middle school and high school might be too late. Not too late, because it's never too late.
No, it's not too late. But if you are a parent that has younger kids, don't think that you can wait until they're in high school to be having these conversations.
Yeah. So what do you do? Like, Dad, I'm struggling with porn.
Yeah. The biggest thing is, first of all, saying thank you, showing appreciation that they were willing to come and say that to you, and then continuing to talk about it. And the reason that we are talking about this so much, and the reason that we want to talk with students about this, and we encourage students to have this dialogue, is because, and the Bible tells us this, that light casts out darkness. So the less that we make this a thing that is shameful and something to hide, and the more that we allow us to realize that this is a problem that so many students have, that so many people have, and are willing to have this dialogue, the more we're going to be able to address it and to work on it. And for so long, I think it's been a thing like, oh, we can't talk about that, or that's just like a huge, terrible sin. Yeah. And we're realizing it's really closer to the norm than it is this like crazy, unheard of thing.
Now that's a big difference between like pornography and social media. Yeah. Because there's so much shame associated with pornography. Yeah. And students that have addictions or problems with social media or hiding those things from their parents don't think there's anything wrong with it. No. Well, there's shame in hiding it from their parents a little bit, but that can wear off a whole lot faster than the shame that comes with pornography.
Culturally, social media addiction is a badge of honor. If you have more followers, if you have the longest streak, whatever it may be, like, those are things that we pride ourselves on culturally. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just because that's more out in the open doesn't necessarily make that an easier conversation to have.
Yeah. It almost makes it more difficult. Yeah. Because that's a confrontation thing, as far as, hey, we need to talk about why this is important, and why we don't think it's a good idea for you to have TikTok or Snapchat, or I don't know what else is even out there, even Instagram. Yeah, it's having that conversation and starting the conversations, and like you said, being grateful, but talking through, what can we do? Like, I think you have a problem, or thank you for telling me about your problem. Here's why I'm concerned. And it's because I love you and because I care about you. And I don't want you to be addicted to it because I know what an addiction does. It just builds and builds and builds. And if you can share some of your own struggles with addictions, like if you've had struggles with pornography, or if you yourself are addicted to your phone, like that's a great thing to work together through with your kids. Like, okay, how do we get better at this?
And it kind of like what we talked about a couple episodes ago, like allowing your student to be the expert. If you ask them like, hey, what are some things that you've seen other, like your friends struggle with on social media, or what are some of the things that like are maybe a little bit sketchy on social media, they're going to have lots of stories. When if you approach them and allow them to share from their point of view rather than being like, I heard that the Snapchat is evil, like your kid's going to shut down because there are things about that is important to them and their friends and their culture. And so if you just like come out and blanket attack it, like they're probably not going to listen to you. But if you allow them to share some things that they are worried about it, or things that they've seen, maybe their friends have gone too far or are misusing it, and allow them to share from that point of view, you're probably going to have a much better conversation than if you just like come out and attack it.
Create conversations. Don't start a lecture.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, which that came across really harsh. Don't do this. But again, like even that language shuts things down.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and all of a sudden I caught myself, and I'm like, I just said, don't do this. But
nobody likes to be told what to do.
Nobody likes to be told what to do. And so it's the conversation that says, hey, what do you think about this? Teach me about this. And what are the dangers? And where do we see some of the difficulties? And what do we feel is an appropriate use? And how do we get better?
Yeah, hopefully some of these thoughts, this wasn't the most structured video that we've ever put out, but hopefully some of these thoughts are helpful for you to start thinking, to start talking to your student, to be having these conversations, starting some sort of dialogue, because it's important, and it is something that we need to talk about more. It's something that we need to have a dialogue about, and it's something that we can't just keep ignoring and allowing it to happen in the shadows.
Yeah. If you have questions, please check with us. Like, we're happy to talk about this. These are conversations that we're having constantly with students, with parents, with each other. We're looking at research and doing things because we're learning about this, because I'm now on the old end, and like I'm not a cell phone native. Like I'm not internet native. I didn't grow up with the cell phone in my hand. That didn't happen until after college. And so how do we help students see the dangers, recognize that these are good things? Like the internet is a good thing. Cell phones are good things, but there's dangers that try to attack our heart and our attention. And so how do we keep that from isolating us?
All right. I think that is all for today, but we will see you next time.
Thanks.